Okay, so when we now look forward to game number 2 on Thursday night, Danny will once again be there. He's going back. By the way, talk about making adjustments. Danny's bringing the same roster to the game. He's going to go with father, older brother, and himself. We could make the case that maybe you want to go a little bit younger, right? You could bring in a Raymond McDonough. You could even go
You're
down.
going to game 5, so I mean that's going to be the.
So
Devils gonna win game 2 anyway. I'm calling it right now.
Can we also, before we get into adjustments, we have to acknowledge this, and I'm as disappointed as anybody. You can notice I've turned over to the onesie. This is the new plan of attack for game number 2.
And also, I'm not even wearing my jersey or Devils apparel right here.
Yep, that's true. And you know why? Because I was wearing the undefeated 3-0 hat down the stretch of the season. It came up short. Short in game number 1. So by the way, I don't know if it gets broken back out. Certainly maybe not in this series.
Really?
Well, I have to see what happens here. If the onesie strikes a chord in game number 2, we carry forward with that adjustment. If not, then we got to go to the next plan.
I think if the Devils win game 2, which again I think they will, you wear the onesie and the hat.
Try to bring them together.
We're going to bring them together.
A lot like Captain Planet when our powers combine. I like that. Now, let's talk between the pipes here. Shesterkin, incredible game. You kind of anticipated. He has the track record. Vitek, coming in the preview, we said, hey, listen, there's not enough sample size there to figure anything out or be indicative of it. We've talked before in the regular season, the defensive players, the team collectively needs to be disruptive in the passing lanes, needs to block shots. They didn't do good enough either. However, what do you take away from that initial performance? Because I covered in that post game, some of Shesterkin, some of Vitek's play was questionable.
That was a tongue twister there. You all right?
Well, I was only because I want to say the other goaltender's name. If I say the Devils goaltender, then we're totally fine. Some of Vitek's play was questionable. The near side goal that was basically shot from inside the front row of the stands. He doesn't get there quick enough.
Yeah,
he overcommits coming out on the on the first goal as well. Now again, the team had a bad game, but what did you take away from Vitek's performance?
Tarasenko's a goal scorer. The first goal of the game, there was a blatant hole in the middle of the ice that the Devils just left exposed. Tarasenko's going to score 7 out of 10 times there.
Devils could have had 10 guys on the ice, and he would have been open in the middle.
Yeah, that was just horrific. And again, that goes back to what we spoke about earlier about the Devils' play overall. The third goal, the lingering goal, was, to me, the problem. He left that short side. It was a great shot. But to me, he left that post exposed. I think he should have challenged. Should have came a little more to the top of his crease. He had the defense in front, so if there was a pass across the ice, I think it could have been broken up. So, there's a few things positioning-wise that I think Vitek needs to fix.
Can you chalk that up to nerves? That's kind of the big question I wanted to get to was, we talk about the young players and chalking up to nerves. Are we willing to go to that place with Vitek in his first game, given that you are the goaltender, you are the anchor of, you are the anchor?
Maybe on the first goal, maybe he could have saved that if it wasn't a playoff game and he was just calm and his nerves weren't there and he wasn't amped up. Maybe the third goal, he was settled in. It was the second period. Right. You got to make that save. It's a great shot and you can't blame him wholeheartedly. But to me, I think he knows his positioning could have been better.
All right, so then let's talk about the adjustments because we're going to do this on 2 other fronts as well going into game number 2. Some fans have said, bring on the Schmid. Like, here's a guy, he's young, he's proven some things in the regular season. I personally don't think that you can make that type of decision from game 1 to game 2. I guess the other side of that coin would be if you don't make that switch for game 2 and then you're down 0-2 because Vitek has another bad game, you go, well, it could be too late to be making that adjustment. Where do you stand on that?
I think you play Vitek in game 2. I think I'm with you on it. I think Akira Schmid is amazing. I think you've had a great season. He's a 20-year-old kid going into a playoff game. I think it's going to be the same as every single Devil player in game 1. I think you're basically going to insert him into a high-pressure situation as a young kid. I don't think it's the right spot.
Are you willing to make that switch if, say, the Devils go down, say they're down midway through the second period 3-1 on a Rangers goal, and it feels like 2 out of 3 are, again, about positioning, about how Vitek is performing? Would you make an in-game switch?
Yeah, I would. And Ruff has done that. He did that in the regular season, so I think that would happen. Vitek is a good goalie.
But is he a good or capable of being a great playoff goalie? I think that's the big delineation here.
It is, and again, the sample size is so small that it's hard to even say that. And the way the Devils played in front of him, I don't think you could put any blame on him.
Is this a good playoff team? Is another question that we could be asking at a high level.
They're so young, and it's one game. And it's hard for us to sit here and analyze after one game because, listen, we've had crappy games in the season. and it just sucks that this was basically our worst special teams game of the entire season. But it's going to happen. And I think that you literally wipe the slate clean of game one. You learn from it. You got your ass kicked. Figure it out. You're an NHL team. You're young, but you're a good NHL team that can win games. And they can beat the Rangers. They were 3-0-1 against them.
There's a good chance that you shouldn't have said that A word. So we'll have to discuss that afterwards.
Really?
Very unprofessional. Now,
is that going to be bleeped out too?
We'll debate it. I would never put myself in that type of circumstance.
Yeah, you would never curse on air like this.